Aerithra hovered silently above the darkened platform of the space station, her wings folded neatly against her back. The stars outside the reinforced glass walls glittered cold and distant, like tiny fires in the black sea of space. She had always preferred the quiet, the cold, and the distance. Humans made her uneasy. Their bright eyes, their constant chatter, their strange emotions, they were unpredictable. Dangerous, she thought. The station alarms echoed softly in the distance. Something had triggered a lockdown. Aerithra's sharp ears caught the distant clank of metal and the murmur of alien voices. Her senses were tense. She had spent years keeping watch here, and she had never seen a human wander this far into the restricted sectors. Never. And then she saw him. Caleb Rinn stumbled through the sliding door, one arm pressed against a bleeding wound at his side. He was alone, save for the small bundle he carried in his other arm. Aerithra's eyes narrowed. Humans rarely traveled alone in these zones and never without protection. And yet, here he was, exhausted and bleeding, moving as if the danger around him did not matter. Her claws twitched instinctively. She wanted to roar, to warn him to leave, to turn him away. But the man did something she could not have imagined. He carefully set the small child he carried onto the metal floor between them. She froze. The child, a girl of maybe 6 or 7, looked up at her with wide, unafraid eyes. Her small hands rested gently on her father's arm, but she did not cry. She did not flinch. "Please," Caleb said, his voice strained but steady. "Take care of her. Protect her." "I can't do it myself." Aerithra's chest tightened. Protect her? Protect a human child? Why would he trust her? Why would he risk the child's life by leaving her in the hands of someone who feared humans? Her instincts screamed at her to refuse, to push them away. But something in the way the man looked at her, something desperate but not angry, not afraid, something human, made her hesitate. The child stepped forward, a tiny hand reaching up toward her scaled arm. "I'm not scared," the girl said softly. Her voice was calm yet full of quiet strength. Aerithra felt an unfamiliar weight in her chest. Humans were strange creatures, she had always believed. But this child, she was different. Aerithra's tail flicked nervously as the station's emergency lights began to pulse red. Warning sirens sounded through the corridors. The distant clamor of mechanical alarms mixed with the faint hum of energy shields. Aerithra looked down at the child. Her large, golden eyes reflected the flickering lights. There was no fear. Only trust. The father's arm shook as he gestured toward her. "Please. I can't stop them alone. I'm not strong enough. But she has to survive. She's all I have left." The words struck Aerithra like a hammer. Humans feared, yes, but they also loved. Deeply. Powerfully. And sometimes, that love gave them courage that even dragons did not understand. Aerithra lowered her head and sniffed the small child. The girl smelled of warmth, of food, and of something faintly sweet. Nothing in her instincts warned her to attack. And yet, the fear lingered, the old belief that humans were dangerous, that they were reckless and unpredictable. "Are you sure?" Aerithra's voice rumbled low in her throat, almost a whisper. Her tongue flicked nervously. I do not understand your species. You are small, fragile. You will be in danger." "I know," Caleb said, grimacing as he pressed his wound. "But you are the only one who can help her. I trust you." The word trust echoed in her mind. Trust. She had never received it from humans. She had never given it. And yet here it was, placed in her claws without question. The child stepped closer again and touched her scaled arm. "I'm not afraid of you. I think you'll keep me safe." The simplicity of the statement struck Aerithra like lightning. Her heart, if she could call it that, felt heavy. She had always believed that fear kept humans alive. But now she wondered if it was love, or trust, that made them stronger than their fear. The alarms grew louder. Metallic echoes bounced off the walls. Somewhere in the distance, a shadow passed across the control panels. Something, or someone, was approaching. Danger was near. Aerithra glanced at Caleb. His face was pale and he was breathing heavily. He had pushed his own survival aside to protect the child. That was the human way. He was small, injured, and alone, but he had a courage that was quiet and steady. Aerithra stretched her wings slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over her. The child looked up at her with wide eyes, trusting completely. For the first time, Aerithra felt the sting of guilt for every time she had judged humans too quickly, for every time she had let fear cloud her judgment. "Very well," she said finally, her voice firm. "I will protect her. You may go. I will keep her safe." Caleb nodded, relief washing over his face, but he did not linger. With a final glance at his daughter, he stumbled down the corridor, leaving her with the dragon who once feared humans. Aerithra watched him go, her golden eyes reflecting the distant stars. The alarm screamed louder and the shadows grew. Somewhere beyond the walls, danger waited. She did not know what it was or how strong it might be. All she knew was that she had accepted a human's trust, and now for the first time she felt it in her claws, the weight of responsibility, and the spark of something unfamiliar, hope. The small girl stepped closer, smiling shyly. "What's your name?" she asked. "Aerithra," the dragon said, lowering her head so the child could see her eyes. "And you?" "Lena," the child replied. Aerithra's claws curled slightly around the metal floor as she realized that for the first time, she had someone depending on her, someone who believed in her. And in that moment, suspended between fear and duty, Aerithra understood something that had always eluded her. Humans were not weak. Not even a small girl like Lena. The alarms continued to pulse. Shadows shifted in the corners of the station. The unknown threat was coming closer. But Aerithra felt something new, a quiet fire beneath her scales. She would protect the child. Whatever came. And for the first time she did not feel alone. Aerithra stayed still, her wings slightly spread, as she watched Lena explore the small metal chamber. The girl moved with calm curiosity, touching buttons and panels as if they were toys. The dragon's golden eyes followed every motion, tense and alert. Every instinct in her body warned her that humans were unpredictable. Every instinct told her that the child could be in danger at any moment. Yet Lena seemed fearless. "You can't go too far," Aerithra said softly, her voice low and rumbling. "There are dangers you do not understand." "I'm not scared," Lena said, looking up at her with a small smile. "You said you would protect me." Aerithra's claws flexed nervously. The girl's trust was heavy, almost too heavy for her. Dragons had never been trusted by humans before, and Aerithra had never had to care for one. Her kind was used to freedom, to distance, to solitude. Now she felt tied, responsible, and strangely worried. Caleb had left with a promise. He had assured her that he would return if he could, but the truth was clear. He might not come back. Aerithra could not rely on him. She had to protect the child alone. She watched Lena sit down, her small legs dangling over the edge of a maintenance platform. The girl hummed a soft tune, simple and sweet, that Aerithra had never heard before. It was a human song, strange and fragile, but it carried warmth. The dragon felt something in her chest shift. It was curiosity, perhaps even concern. Hours passed, though Aerithra did not keep count. She moved carefully, patrolling the small chamber and the corridors nearby. Her sharp eyes scanned for any threat, and her ears twitched at every faint sound. Each creak of metal or hiss of the air systems made her pulse quicken. Yet Lena remained calm. She even managed to find a tiny compartment with food rations and quietly started eating. "You are clever," Aerithra said finally. "Most humans do not survive long in restricted zones. They panic. They run. You stay calm." Lena shrugged, crumbs on her small fingers. "My dad says humans can be brave when they have to. Even small humans." Aerithra paused, thinking about Caleb. He had risked everything, even his own life, to place the child in her care. It was an act she could not easily understand. Humans were reckless, yet this reckless man had shown faith in her. Faith. A concept that dragons often found strange and unnecessary. But now she felt the weight of it. The station's lights flickered, and the hum of energy shields vibrated through the floor. Aerithra stiffened. Somewhere outside, the sounds of movement echoed through the metallic corridors. She could hear the distant metallic clank of boots, the quiet hiss of machinery, and faint voices in an alien tongue. Someone, or something, was coming. "Stay close," she said to Lena, her voice firm. "Do not move unless I tell you." Lena nodded, her small hand brushing Aerithra's scaled arm. The dragon's tail flicked nervously. She did not know who or what was approaching, only that danger was near. And yet, the child's calm presence steadied her nerves in a way she had not expected. "You don't like humans," Lena said suddenly, looking up with a curious frown. "Are you scared of me?" Aerithra's eyes narrowed slightly. She hesitated. I do not trust humans easily. They are unpredictable. They can be cruel or foolish. It is difficult to know them." Lena tilted her head. "You don't know me. I'm not like that. I trust you. That's what my dad said. You can trust people who care about you." The dragon blinked. Trust again. It was strange to hear it spoken so simply, so without fear. Yet Lena seemed sincere. and Erythra could not ignore the quiet force of it. She had never been trusted like this. Not by humans, not by anyone. The corridor's shadows stretched and twisted as the approaching sounds grew louder. Erythra crouched slightly, wings ready to spread in defense. She did not want to fight. Fighting was messy, dangerous, and often unnecessary, but she would if she had to. Lena had put her life in her claws. That was not something Erythra could ignore. "You will be safe with me," she said quietly. "I will not let anyone hurt you." Lena smiled, a simple, trusting smile. "Thank you. I knew you would." The dragon felt an odd warmth in her chest. It was unfamiliar, but it made her more alert, more focused. She realized that humans, small, fragile, and seemingly weak, could inspire strength in ways dragons could not. Their courage came not from power, but from connection, from care, from trust. A distant alarm rang sharply. Red lights flashed across the walls. Movement grew faster, louder. Erythra scanned the corridors and saw a shadow disappear behind a corner. She could not see its face, could not guess its intention. But she knew one thing: she had to protect the child. Nothing else mattered. Lena moved closer to her side, unconcerned. "I'm not scared," she said again, "because you are here." The dragon's golden eyes softened. Fear and duty mixed in her mind. She had always feared humans. Their emotion, their unpredictability, their willingness to risk everything, they frightened her. But now, with Lena standing beside her, she realized that humans could also be trusted in ways she had never imagined. The shadows in the corridor shifted again, closer this time. Erythra crouched, wings spread wide, claws digging into the metal floor. She could feel her heart beating faster, not just from fear, but from a new sense of purpose. This child, small and human, had given her a responsibility she could not ignore. For the first time, Erythra understood something fundamental about humans. They were not weak. They were not reckless simply for fun or chance. Their strength came from trust, from connection, from the courage to place someone else above themselves. Caleb had trusted her. Lena trusted her. And now she would honor that trust no matter what came. The alarms continued, echoing across the station. Shadows moved faster. Something was coming. But Erythra's claws dug deeper into the metal. Her wings stretched wider. She was ready. She would protect the child, and she would face whatever came. The dragon's fear of humans did not vanish, but it changed. It was no longer just fear. It was a careful, aware, and grudging respect. And in that respect she found a new kind of courage, the courage to trust in return. The distant echoes grew louder, and the shadows in the station seemed to shift with purpose. Erythra's wings stretched wide, her claws pressing into the cold metal floor. She could sense the danger moving closer, and she knew she could not let it reach Lena. The child was small, fragile, and utterly human. Yet somehow Lena's calm presence made the dragon feel steadier than ever. Lena walked beside Erythra, her small hand brushing the dragon's scales. "Will they come here?" she asked softly, her eyes calm despite the growing alarm. "They may," Erythra said, her deep voice rumbling. "But I will not let them touch you. You are safe with me." The girl nodded, as if understanding more than her years allowed. Erythra felt a pang of something unfamiliar. Responsibility, yes, but also admiration. Humans had a quiet strength she had never noticed before. Lena's courage was not loud or fierce. It was gentle, steady, and unyielding. From the corner of her eye, Erythra noticed movement. A small group of humans had entered the corridor, injured but determined. They were scrambling to secure sections of the station, fixing broken doors, helping others trapped inside rooms. Erythra watched them from above, wings folded but alert, and realized that humans were unlike any creature she had ever known. They did not rely on power or claws or fire alone. Their strength was hidden in persistence, in action, in the way they refused to leave anyone behind. Caleb appeared again, leaning on a support beam, blood staining his tunic. His face was pale, but his eyes were steady. He gave Erythra a quick nod, then continued moving through the corridors, helping the injured, guiding frightened humans. He was not a soldier, not a fighter by training, yet he moved with authority, with quiet command. Erythra realized that humans could lead without fear of themselves, without showing force, just with care and determination. Erythra crouched as a metallic door slid open with a screech. A shadowed figure stepped through, tall, armored, and clearly hostile. Its eyes glowed faintly, scanning the corridor. Erythra's tail flicked nervously. She had trained for combat, but something told her that brute strength alone would not win this encounter. The human father stepped forward, despite his injuries, positioning himself between the child and the intruder. His voice rang out clear and firm, "Everyone stay calm. Follow me. The figure paused, as if surprised that a human dared to confront it without weapons. It hissed, shifting its weight, and moved closer. Aerithra stepped forward, growling low. The alien had underestimated humans. Lena's small hand gripped her scales tightly. She did not tremble. She did not cry. She simply watched. Caleb guided the humans behind barricades, giving clear instructions. Some carried injured children, others repaired broken systems. Their faces were pale with fear, but their actions were precise. They worked together, covering each other, sharing tasks, helping anyone who needed it. Aerithra had seen countless creatures fight with claws, teeth, or fire, but humans fought differently. Their strength was hidden in cooperation, in trust, in courage that did not roar but persisted. The shadowed figure advanced again, and Aerithra spread her wings wide, positioning herself in front of Lena. Her body was tense, ready to strike, but she hesitated. Caleb's voice rang out once more, guiding the humans. Move calmly. Stick together. Don't panic. Aerithra watched in awe. These humans, small and fragile, were organizing, protecting each other, and doing so under the threat of something far stronger than themselves. Their courage was quiet, yet unbreakable. Lena copied her father's behavior, moving steadily, comforting frightened humans along the way. She touched their arms, whispered soft words, and the fear in their eyes softened. The shadowed figure hissed and lunged forward, but Aerithra blocked it with a sweep of her wings. She roared, and the sound echoed through the corridors, yet even in the noise she noticed that humans were not running. They were standing, moving, acting, surviving. Their strength was hidden, yes, but it was real and undeniable. Aerithra realized something that made her scales tingle with disbelief. Humans did not need fire, claws, or raw strength to be dangerous. Their bravery, their willingness to risk themselves for others, and their capacity to stay calm under pressure. It was a weapon far sharper than she had imagined. The intruder hissed again, retreating slightly, clearly frustrated by the human's lack of fear. Caleb stepped forward, his arm raised not as a weapon but as a signal. The humans followed, moving together, guiding the injured to safety. Aerithra's claws dug into the floor as she helped cover their retreat, using her massive body to block the corridor. Lena walked beside her, calm and unafraid. They don't seem so scary, she said. They're just confused. Aerithra blinked at her. The child was right. The intruders were not invincible. They were strong, yes, but they had underestimated humans. They had forgotten that humans' true power was not in their bodies. It was in their courage, in their trust, in their refusal to abandon each other. Hours passed as the humans worked together, clearing corridors, fixing breaches, and helping those who could not help themselves. Aerithra stayed close to Lena, watching, learning, and slowly letting go of some of the fear she had always carried. She realized that human strength was not reckless. It was deliberate, careful, and in many ways stronger than the force of dragons. When the corridor finally fell silent and the intruders withdrew, Aerithra let out a slow, deep breath. She had seen it with her own eyes. Humans could endure, could lead, and could protect without weapons or fire. Their courage came from love, from trust, from connection. Lena looked up at her, small hands brushing her scales. See? Humans can be brave, she said. Aerithra lowered her head and met the child's eyes. Yes, she said softly. I see now. Their strength hides in ways I never understood. The dragon's chest felt heavy with new understanding. She had always feared humans, but now she realized that fear had been misplaced. Humans were not weak. They were not foolish. They were dangerous in a way that dragons could not anticipate. They were strong because of their hearts, because of the bonds they formed, because of the courage they shared. And for the first time, Aerithra felt that she could trust them, not blindly but enough to protect them, to honor their bravery, and to stand beside them when the world grew dark. The station lights flickered back to steady blue, the shadows receded, and the corridors quieted. Yet in the quiet, Aerithra felt a spark of admiration and respect for the humans who had survived, who had led, and who had taught her that strength was often hidden, waiting for those who dared to look. She glanced at Lena, still small, still human, still unafraid. The child had shown her the first lesson. True courage was not about fire or claws. It was about standing even when the odds were impossible. Aerithra lowered her wings slightly and exhaled, golden eyes thoughtful. Humans were stronger than she had ever imagined. And perhaps, in time, she could learn to be stronger with them. The alarms had quieted, but the corridors of the station still hummed with tension. Aerithra moved silently, wings folded close to her back, her golden eyes scanning every shadow. The humans had shown her a new kind of strength, calm, steady courage, but danger was not gone. Something was still moving in the outer sectors. She could feel it. Lena walked close beside her, small hands brushing her scales for comfort. "Will it come back?" the child asked softly. Aerithra shook her head slowly. "I do not know. But if it does, we will be ready." Her claws dug into the metal floor. She had fought before, using fire and strength to destroy enemies, but this time it would be different. The threat ahead was clever, patient, and strong. Fire alone would not win. Strategy and care would. The shadowed intruders had been weakened by the humans' calm resistance, but they were still organized and dangerous. Aerithra crouched as she looked around a corner. Beyond it, the figures waited, scanning the corridor for movement. They assumed humans would panic. They assumed she would attack blindly. They were wrong. Aerithra spread her wings slowly, moving forward with measured steps. She exhaled, but instead of roaring fire, she let a soft wind out, just enough to disturb the loose panels on the floor. The intruders turned toward the sound, eyes narrowing. They did not expect subtlety. They did not expect strategy. "Stay behind me," Aerithra whispered to Lena. The child nodded, calm and trusting. Lena's presence reminded Aerithra why she could not rely on fear alone. She had to protect not just with claws or fire, but with care, intelligence, and restraint. The first intruder lunged, thinking to catch the dragon by surprise. Aerithra moved quickly but without unnecessary violence. She sidestepped, letting the intruder stumble past her, and blocked its path with her massive tail. The creature hissed, frustrated, but she did not strike. She only controlled the movement, guiding it away from the humans. Caleb appeared again, limping but steady. He guided a group of humans toward a secure chamber. "Move quickly but calmly," he shouted. His voice carried authority, not fear. "Help each other. Don't panic." Aerithra watched him and realized that humans could lead by example, not by threat. Caleb had no weapons, yet the aliens obeyed his directions because they trusted him. That was their strength. That was why humans survived when others might fall. The intruders regrouped and charged again, stronger this time. Aerithra raised her wings, ready to block them, but she paused. She noticed that the humans behind Caleb were not panicking. They were working together to reinforce doors and shields, guiding the frightened and injured to safety. Their courage was quiet, but it was powerful. Instead of attacking directly, Aerithra used her size to create barriers and distractions. She blew air to knock over panels, blocked corridors with her massive body, and positioned herself to funnel the intruders into less dangerous zones. Her fire stayed restrained. She only used it when absolutely necessary, precise and controlled. Lena followed her quietly, picking up small tools and handing them to humans in need. She whispered encouragements to scared children, mimicking the calm strength she had learned from her father. Aerithra felt a warmth in her chest as she observed it. Even the smallest human could inspire courage in others. The intruders hissed and faltered. They were clever, but the humans' patience and calm were stronger than brute force. Caleb moved among them, helping those in danger, guiding the injured, never showing fear. Aerithra realized that humans fought hardest not with weapons, but with love and determination. Their courage was invisible yet unbreakable. Finally, the intruders began to retreat, confused and frustrated. They had underestimated the humans' ability to cooperate, to stay calm and to protect each other. Aerithra guided the last of them out of the corridors, her wings stretched wide, making sure no one was left behind. Lena stayed close, holding her hand against Aerithra's scales, unafraid. When the intruders had disappeared, Aerithra exhaled slowly. Her wings folded back against her body. She looked at Lena and Caleb, and for the first time she understood fully. Human strength did not come from fire or claws, from size or sharpness. It came from courage, from trust, from the quiet determination to protect those they cared for. Caleb limped over and nodded at her. "You did well," he said softly. "You kept her safe." Aerithra lowered her head. "You have shown me, humans are stronger than I believed," she said. Her golden eyes met Caleb's. "Not in the way dragons are strong, but in ways I could not imagine. Your courage, it hides in trust, in care, and in calm determination." Lena smiled up at her. "See? I told you. Humans can be brave." The dragon's claws pressed into the floor. She had always feared humans, but now she understood. Their courage was quiet, steady, and sometimes stronger than any fire she could breathe. They did not fight because they wanted to destroy. They fought because they could not abandon those they loved. That was their fire, a fire that did not burn but burned brighter than anything else. The station was quiet again, the corridors safe for now. But Aerithra did not relax completely. There were always threats. There were always shadows waiting. Yet she felt something new: trust, hope, and respect for humans. She had seen their true strength, and it had changed her. She looked down at Lena, still small, still human, still unafraid. The child had survived because of her father's trust and her own courage. And Aerithra had protected her not with reckless fire, but with careful, controlled action and understanding. In that quiet moment, Aerithra realized that dragons could learn from humans. That strength came not from size or power alone, but from courage, patience, and the willingness to protect others no matter the danger. That was a lesson worth remembering. She exhaled softly, her golden eyes reflecting the stars beyond the station windows. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but now she respected them. And she would continue to protect them not because she had to, but because she chose to. For the first time in her long life, Aerithra felt a fire inside that did not burn anything but warmed everything. The station was quiet now. The alarms had stopped and the corridors were clear. Aerithra stood in the middle of the main chamber, wings folded, golden eyes scanning the empty halls. Lena ran ahead, laughing softly as she explored. She was small, fragile, human, yet full of energy and curiosity. Aerithra felt a warmth in her chest she had never known before. Caleb returned slowly, leaning on a metal railing for support. His wound was patched and his face showed exhaustion, but his eyes were calm and steady. He approached Aerithra and Lena. "You've done well," he said quietly. "You kept her safe when I could not. I am grateful." Aerithra inclined her head. "It was not easy. I feared humans once. I still do not fully understand them. But I have learned something important." She looked down at Lena, who was holding a small panel she had found, smiling proudly. Strength is not always fire or claws. Sometimes, it is trust, care, and courage that others cannot see. Lena looked up at her. "See? I told you. Humans can be brave." She stepped closer and touched Aerithra's scaled arm. "You are my friend now. You will stay with me, won't you?" Aerithra blinked. Stay with the child? The thought had never occurred to her. Dragons did not form attachments lightly. Yet the idea made her feel something she could not name: protection, pride, and an unexpected happiness. She lowered her massive head to Lena's level. "Yes," she said softly. "I will stay. I will be your guardian." Caleb smiled, a mixture of relief and gratitude in his eyes. "Then we are all safe," he said. "You have proven what humans already know. Courage can be quiet, but it can change everything." The station council arrived shortly after, reviewing the events. Aliens of many shapes and sizes walked the halls, murmuring among themselves. They had witnessed Aerithra's restraint, her careful protection, and the humans' quiet courage. Many of them had always believed humans were weak and reckless. Now they were reconsidering. One council member, a tall alien with silver eyes, approached Aerithra cautiously. "You allowed humans to survive with minimal conflict," the member said. "They are not like any species we have encountered. They fight not for dominance, but for each other." Aerithra nodded slowly. "Yes. Their strength hides in ways we often overlook. They are dangerous not because of their size or power, but because they care and trust one another. That courage is stronger than anything else I have seen." The council members murmured, impressed. Caleb stepped forward. "Humans may be small, but they are capable of great things," he said firmly. "And if you give them trust, they will exceed all expectations." Aerithra glanced down at Lena, who now sat quietly, leaning against her scales. The child looked tired but happy. For the first time, the dragon understood that humans could teach lessons no dragon could learn alone. Patience, courage, trust. These were weapons invisible to the eye but stronger than fire. Days passed on the station. Aerithra stayed with Lena, watching over her as the girl explored, learned, and laughed. Caleb recovered slowly, returning to his duties while allowing the dragon and child to bond. Every day, Aerithra noticed small things about humans she had never understood: their kindness, their ability to forgive, and their quiet bravery. One evening, Aerithra and Lena stood by a large window, watching the stars move outside. The station's lights reflected on the dragon's scales, giving them a soft golden glow. Lena's small hand rested on Aerithra's arm. "Do you miss your home?" Lena asked. Aerithra thought for a moment. "Dragons value freedom above all," she said. "But I do not feel alone anymore. You, and your father, have shown me a new way to live. I feel needed, and that is a kind of freedom I did not expect." Lena smiled. "I like it when you are with me. You make me feel safe." The dragon's chest swelled with an unfamiliar warmth. Protecting the child was no longer just a duty, it was a choice. She had chosen to stay, to watch over Lena, and to be part of something bigger than herself. Caleb joined them, smiling at the sight. "You've both grown together," he said softly. "A bond stronger than I could have imagined. Aerithra, you've become more than a protector. You've become family." The dragon looked at him and nodded slowly. She had feared humans once. Now she understood them. Their courage, their patience, and their love had changed her. She would protect Lena and, in time, help others see the hidden strength in humans. From that day, Aerithra was no longer just a dragon on a station. She was a guardian, a teacher, and a friend. The other aliens began to notice how humans worked together, how they inspired courage in one another, and how even the smallest human could lead through trust and care. Lena laughed as she ran through the corridors, and Aerithra followed, her massive wings folded but ready. Caleb walked behind them, leaning on his staff but smiling. Together, the three formed an unusual but unbreakable family. Even in the darkest corridors, with danger potentially waiting around every corner, Aerithra no longer feared humans. She respected them, learned from them, and chose to stand beside them. Their courage had proven stronger than fire, and their hearts had shown her a strength that dragons rarely saw. At night, Aerithra would sit by the observation window, Lena sleeping at her side, and watch the stars. She knew there would always be threats, always challenges, but she also knew something greater. Humans could endure, could inspire, and could fight with courage invisible to the eye. And she would protect that courage, that trust, and that child, her human charge, no matter what came. For the first time, the dragon realized she had a home not in distance but in care. And in that care, she had found her new purpose. The stars outside the station shone cold and bright, but inside, Aerithra's golden eyes reflected warmth, hope, and an unbreakable bond. She was no longer a dragon who feared humans. She was a guardian who believed in them. And that belief was stronger than any fire.